Hi everyone, this is Dr. Kalkbrenner, and welcome to my video on searching the library databases for empirical sources. And one thing I'm going to say up front is that this is not going to be a comprehensive overview or demonstration. My goal here is to give you a brief overview so that you'll be able to search the databases for perhaps a literature review assignment or an instrument evaluation assignment in one of my classes. And if you take research methods with me, in that class in particular, we'll spend a lot more time in navigating the databases, and there's a lot little neat little tricks and things that you can do to really refine your search. But my hope for you after watching this video is that you'll be comfortable searching the databases in a general way to find sources that you need for class assignments. So what I did here is I just went to the university's library webpage. So if you just Google NMSU library, this will be the first one that comes up. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways to access articles. And what we're going to do today is search databases. And really a database is, think of it as a compilation of a number of journals that are indexed. So it's really just sort of a way that it's a conglomeration of different journals that are part of these databases. And by searching them, you search for articles and other peer-reviewed sources within a group or collection of journals. And one really cool thing, or something that I think is really cool, that our library did a couple summers ago is they made what's called Primo, which is on this web page here. And what Primo is it actually searches all of the NMSU databases. So think of this as casting a really wide net, and you're going to search through hundreds of journals which are indexed or archived within a number of special or smaller databases or smaller sources. So I'm going to show you Primo first, but I also recommend looking in a couple key databases, because as great as Primo is, it doesn't always catch everything. Or there have been times in the past where I haven't found something on Primo, but then I have found it by searching a specific database. So I'll show you how to do both approaches, and I recommend that when you're doing your literature searches that you also do the same. So this is Primo right here. As soon as you log on to the library's webpage, one thing I want to encourage you to do, though, is to first click on this advanced search option, because this gives you, you can be more specific in what you want the database to find for you. So let's think about some search filters or terms here. So let's say that I want to find information about the patient health questionnaire, or the PHQ-9, which, as many of you might already know, is a widely used screening tool for symptoms of depression severity. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into my first search term. Nice thing is this has the spell check option already built in for you. And then, well, let's just search for this and see what comes up. So I search for the patient health questionnaire in Primo. And I have over 842,000 results. So I could go through and look at each of these, but that would be overwhelming for me, at least. So one thing you can do that's neat here is that you can add specific search terms. So using the and or the or option. So let's say, for example, I'm going to put and validity. And then you can also add new lines, and I'm going to say or reliability. So what this is going to do now is it's going to search for on filters. And right now I have it just anywhere that it appears in the article. But I can also be even more specific by saying I want this term either in just the title. I can ask for a particular author or for a subject term. So let's try it first right now, leaving it in any field. But what this is going to do is it's going to look for articles that mention the patient health questionnaire and validity, or the patient health questionnaire and reliability. So let's go ahead and search. And so we still have just about the same number of results. So putting the and or the or didn't really give us fewer results. But one thing you might notice, and even looking at the very first one that comes up, is that this first one already seems more relevant to our purposes. Or if my goal is to look at the psychometric properties, or I want to look for reliability and validity evidence of scores on the PHQ-9, this first study here might be promising. So let's click on it and look at it in a little bit more detail. So one nice thing that Primo does for you is it gives you the citation, or it gives you a draft of the citation in APA 7. And I say that because in my own work, I use these citation generators all the time. However, there's almost always subtle errors in APA style. So this can be a great way to get a template or get your citation started, but it's always important, at least in my view, to review these and edit them for APA errors. So one error I'm already seeing here, for example, is that there's multiple authors on this study. However, it's only coming up with the last name of the first author. So On the references page, you'll want to list up to 20 authors. So you want to add on the last name, first, and then middle initial, if applicable, for all authors up to 20 per APA 7. And then in the text, you'd cite this as Zhang et al. 2013. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Yeah, but just the point being, just check your citations if you use these generators. Let's go down a little bit further, and this one has a full text option. So this happens to be archived in the EBSCO database. So if I click on it in EBSCO, and you'll have to log in for the first time that you access the library website. So this is just same username and password you use for your email. So mine are already saved into this computer. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And then it tells me where I can find the full text of the article. And then here we go. So this is actually what it looks like in the EBSCO database. And I can look right here. I have a PDF option. And then here I'll have access to the study. So what I would recommend doing is that if it's for a lit review or for a project, I always save copies of these articles because you might want to look at them later, and maybe you like to read them electronically and highlight them, or perhaps you like to print them out. But here we go. Here's the article I'm looking for, and I'm not going to go through this one in detail, but I can just see from reading the abstract, this has some information about validity and reliability evidence of scores on the PHQ-9. So let's go back to our search. So again, I have a lot of results here, and what I encourage you to do and require in some of my assignments is that you look for peer-reviewed journal articles or the original authors that conducted the information on the particular study. So one thing you can do to make this large number of results less overwhelming is to apply some of these filters over here. So if you look over on this side of the screen over here on the left, so one thing I can ask for is I want just peer-reviewed journal articles. So that's going to limit this number to only articles that are peer-reviewed. And another thing I would encourage you to do is, this is a concern for temporal validity, or the notion or the question of, do the findings of these articles have relevance? Are they valid, or do they apply in 2021? So there's no official guideline, but usually it's within at least publication within at least 10 years. So I'm going to say here 2011 through 2021. I'm going to click on that. And you could even further refine it by the different subjects. So some of these are discipline specific. So for our search here, I might click on survey and questionnaires. And let's see some other possibilities here that might be helpful. I might actually leave it just at survey and questionnaires for now because I don't want to cut it down too much. And you can always go back and forth. So let's say that this search doesn't really help me refine it at all. I could maybe come back and then add some more filters. But for the sake of the example, let's just go ahead here and apply the filters and see what it gives us. Yeah, so it cut down the results substantially if you look at what we have now. And here's a number of possible articles that have information on the psychometric properties of the PHQ-9. So there's a lot of possible options here, and I'd like to see one where it's not available online so I can show you how to request it via Interlibrary alone. It looks like a lot of these studies aren't widely available. Okay, well, I'll show you that option when we get to the databases. But the point being, you can keep playing around with these filters. And for me, it's almost like kind of playing a game or solving a puzzle where you kind of go back and forth and you're trying to balance getting a feasible number of results that aren't too overwhelming to look through, but enough results that you have a comprehensive review of the literature. All right, so depending on how much research there is on your topic or how wide of a net you want to cast, there might be value in some instances in starting with Primo to kind of see across the board or across all the databases in a general way what's available on your topic or the information you want to find in the literature. But I also encourage you to look on a few key databases that are discipline specific to counseling and psychology. So let's go back to the library and we'll go to the home page. So another way, in addition to using Primo, is that if you click on the databases tab, and I usually just sort them alphabetically, you can identify a few key databases that tend to have information that is going to be relevant to our fields or to your particular topic. So one of the ones that I think has a lot of value that I use in my own research almost all the time is Education Research Complete. So let me click on this for the sake of the example here. So now what this is going to do is it's the same format as Primo. It does the same thing as far as searching a number of journals, but this is just more specific to education journals. So there's fewer journals that are archived in EdResearch Complete than there is in Primo. But again, like I said earlier, sometimes I found things on the specific databases that don't come up in Primo. So I think it's valuable to, again, do both. And the search terms in the boxes should look familiar from what we did in our Primo search. So let's do the same search here. And a lot of times the search will come up in the key terms here. So patient health questionnaire, I'm going to put reliability. I'm going to say or validity. All right, so let's just do it. And again, I can sort here by the title, the subject terms, but let's just do a general search right now and compare to how many hits we get here as compared to what we got in Primo. So if you notice, there's this is still an overwhelming number of possible articles, but it's a lot less than we saw on Primo. And the filters here are very similar, so you can filter by scholarly peer-reviewed journals. You can put in the year ranges that you would like, and then there's subjects, and again, the filters are pretty similar to what you find in Primo. Some of the subtle differences when you click on these articles is there's still ways that you can get the citation generated for you, but for the individual databases, you want to email them to yourself. So if you click email, and then if you put your email in this box over here, and then make sure you change the citation format to APA, then say send, it'll send you an email of the citation. And for me, the same guidelines apply. Oftentimes there's going to be subtle errors in the citations, but it's usually a helpful way to get started. Okay, so I'll go back to EBSCO. And another thing I would encourage you to do is if we go back to the databases, so Education Research Complete, I would also encourage you to look under a couple of others. So one of the ones that I found the most helpful, or if I was forced to pick my favorite database, and I'm sure all of us have our favorite databases, as it's probably very natural to have a favorite database. but seriously though, I think PsycInfo, in my experience, I've been using it for almost 10 years, and it has a lot of utility for articles in counseling and psychology. So I would check PsycInfo, and if you're doing the instrument evaluation assignment, I would definitely check on PsycTest. So you can never say with absolute certainty that you've done a comprehensive search of the literature and identified every possible relevant article to your topic. But I think if you can say that you searched Primo, you searched EdResearch Complete, PsycInfo, and then PsycTest if you're looking for psychometric information, you can conclude that you've done a pretty thorough literature review. All right, well, I hope this was helpful. I appreciate your attention in watching this video. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email. I'd be happy to meet with you in office hours to help you in your search, or if you want to review what you find. So I'm very available, so don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. Thanks, everyone.